Dear colleagues, I'm going to present you investigation of an foodborne outbreak in Montenegro. So, for the beginning, just to tell a couple of things, background, it happens in June 2014 after one birthday party in Family X in Podgorica, that's the capital of Montenegro. So it was 46 attendees, plus one person that attended on June 18 in the morning. So in total 47 of them. And the different food items prepared by party hosts, by illegal bakery, 2 cakes, and the relatives of revealers, domestic fruit cakes. If we are looking at the timeline of events of outbreak investigation, you can see that on Thursday, June 17, we have that birthday party. And then on the next day, around 8 o'clock p.m., our local EP unit was notified by one of the party hosts that there was a dozen of cases of gastrointestinal illness among the guests and 2 children that were hospitalized. Our epidemiologist that evening checked that with the infection clinic and planned for tomorrow, next day, to visit infective clinics. So in the morning at 7:30, our epidemiological team discussed, and after some basic information, initiated the outbreak investigation with the aim to identify causative agent, to determine vehicle of transmission and source if possible, to determine possible wrong procedures in preparing, storing, or serving of food items in order to prevent similar events in the future. So between 8:30 and 10 o'clock, our EPI team visited hospitalized children, performed interview with their mother, notify sanitary inspection about possibility of outbreak. It's mandatory in our country because it's not possible for us to enter in any institution without sanitary inspection. Between 10:30 and 15:30, 2 EP teams together with sanitary inspections first visited party hosts, performed interviews with them, sampled food left over and collected of stool samples. On the same time, the other API team visited the illegal bakery together with sanitary inspection, performed sanitary inspection, sampling of cakes, interview with employees, and order for sanitary examination with stool sampling. Next 6 days, our EPI team collected the data with interviews and stool samples from party invitees as well as from employees of illegal bakery. So as of methodology, you can see that between the 19 and 26, sorry, it's a mistake, of June, it was based on paper-based standardized questionnaire. It was performed the interview among the party invitees, collecting the information, demographics, symptoms, consumption with remarks of quantity, doses, food preparation, including domestic fruit cake, and gastrointestinal illness in the previous week. Based on this information, we performed descriptive analysis and then retrospective cohort study. June 19, we also, the other EPI team performed interviews with owner and staff of illegal bakery, way of procurement of some ingredients, cake preparation, storage of cakes, gastrointestinal illness in the previous week, consumption of cake that bakery produced. And we also collect some stool samples from cases and staff illegal bakery, and also take some food samples. Of course, in our regular procedure, we also collect some samples of the relatives and the members of family of cases. So based on these things and analysis, we provide recommendation for proper food preparation, storage, transport, and serving, as well as legal action of sanitary inspection. So the case definition for our outbreak investigation was attendee of birthday party on June 17, 2014, who had more than 2 or equal episodes of diarrhea per day, and or vomiting and or fever or abdominal cramps with or without nausea and malaise. So results. First, descriptive analysis. We can see here is a birthday party. According to the shape of this epidemiological curve, it's quite visible that this common point source outbreak. What is interesting here that we were informed, in fact, the first day of outbreak and the outbreak investigation was initiated in fact during the outbreak. So out of 46 party invitee, 25 of them got symptoms, so attack rates was 54%. Regarding the distribution of cases by age and sex, we can see that both sexes were affected as well as all age groups. Clinical symptoms, we can see that the most frequent symptoms was diarrhea, following with vomiting, fever, and just a couple of them has abdominal cramps and nausea. In total, 8 out of 25 cases were hospitalized. So, analytical study with calculating food-specific attack rates show us that just 3 food items, that's the Jaffa cake, Greek cake, and domestic fruit cake, were statistically significant. Laboratory results. So we took 17 stool samples out of 25 of them, and 10 samples were positive for Salmonella enteritidis. Stool samples for staff of illegal bakery, 2 of them, we didn't identify pathogen bacteria. Regarding food samples, first home of party host, remains of Jaffa cake was positive for Salmonella enteritidis, as well as remains of domestic fruit cake positive for Salmonella enteritidis. Illegal bakery, cream for Jaffa cake was positive for Salmonella enteritidis. So what was the limitation of this study? We didn't have a pulse gel electrophoresis to make differentiation between Salmonella isolated from Jaffa and domestic cake, as well as between Salmonellas isolated from stool sample of cases, and no environmental investigation of hen's farm. Why? Because the suspicion was that it was eggs. Because in some samples that we investigated, we didn't find anything, and then it was not possible for us to ask the veterinary inspection to perform this investigation. So the conclusion was that Salmonella enteritidis was the microbial cause of outbreak. Jaffa cake and possibly domestic fruit cake were the vehicle. There are some questions about this. Consumption of Jaffa and domestic cake can explain 92% and 52% of cases respectively, and together they can explain all, in fact, 25 cases or 100% of cases. Possible source could be eggs, but it was not possible to confirm that hypothesis. And food and the cake contamination probably due to primary contamination of ingredients, means eggs, improper food preparation and handling practices. Recommendation for proper food preparation, storage, transport, and serving to both illegal bakery and party host, as well as a relative who made domestic fruit cake. Illegal bakery was temporarily closed. Cases of outbreaks, what is very important for us, of gastrointestinal illness should be reported to public health authority as soon as possible, like in this case, in order to put control measures in time, as well to increase chance for identification of causative agents. So that's all for the beginning.
Any questions?
Thank you, Dragan.
Yes.
Really nice outbreak investigation. I'm just curious about the cake preparation. Normally, you put it in the oven and cooked for some time, more than 100 degrees centigrade. Do you have any information about the cake preparation process? This is the first question. And second, you pointed the eggs as a source of potential outbreak. Do you do any traceback investigations to find the source, the farm or something, or distributors of these eggs? Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Jesko. First things, we always, during the investigation of outbreaks, foodborne outbreaks, we always took a recipe of all food preparations, so it was also the same things for this event. And in fact, during the process of preparation, according to our opinion, the that temperature was not quite enough. And what is important here is that, in fact, this was not, I said that it was illegal bakery. In fact, homemade cakes by some private person without license to sell these cakes. So they were not educated, they didn't pass through regular checkup that is mandatory in our countries. And the second thing, I said that it was a limitation of our study that it was not possible to perform this tracing. Why? Because the eggs that we analyzed, we didn't find anything. And then according to our laws, it was not possible to ask the veterinary inspection. That's their mandate to perform this investigation, although we would really like. But thanks to the new regulation, now veterinary inspection has a mandate, not anymore sanitary inspection.
Ibrahim. And so Ibrahim was... Vincent has the microphone, then Ibrahim.
Yes, sorry. Thank you, Dragan, for this very nice case study. Actually, first I would like to ask you if you will be ready to share that with the MediPIET project to use it as a potential case study.
Yes.
Thank you. And so, if I well understood, the Jaffa cake is coming from this illegal factory.
And Greek cake.
And the domestic fruit cake was done at home.
Jaffa and Greek cake was for private illegal bakery, and the domestic fruit cake was created by one relative of the party.
So, I mean, the hypothesis of the X is quite probable, because it's two different places, but with the same pathogen.
Yes. And that was, I said, the problem for us, that it was not possible to make differentiation between the two Salmonella enteritidis.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for your well-organized presentation, very nice presentation. Please, would you refer to the case definition slide?
This one?
Case definition. Yes, it's good case definition, but as you know, you put and or. This make your case definition sensitive, very sensitive. It's good, but what happens if somebody comes to this event with one of these symptoms or signs? So I suggest if you put a small criteria to exclude anybody come with these symptoms or signs the day before this event. That's all.
He always pays attention of these things, and was not just for them, but also for the staff of illegal bakeries. So gastrointestinal illness in the previous week. So these things are regular, and it's mandatory to check to the team who perform outbreak investigation.
Yes, but to avoid classification bias, we have to exclude any case come to the event with any of these symptoms.
I know, but the members of our team are, let's say, very well trained for these things. It's just epidemiologists who perform these things.
Nada will be next question.
Thank you very much for the presentation. I like it. A question. So, is it frequent in Montenegro to have illegal bakeries?
Sorry? Did Montenegro recommend?
No. Is it frequent in Montenegro to have illegal bakeries?
Let's say people adore to buy homemade cakes. It's happened from time to time. We have some problems. For us, it was, let's say, quite interested. Also, if there is no any question, I prepare.
Yeah.
Question?
Yes.
Can you go please to your recommendations or conclusions? Because it's very much related.
Conclusions or recommendation?
Okay, the recommendations. Okay, under second point, it is illegal bakery was temporarily closed. So, I'm just...
Now I will tell you.
It is forever.
I will discuss. I will explain you the secret. In fact, if you have something that doesn't have official license, In fact, it's not possible for sanitary inspection to enter that object, but the owner didn't know, and they allow us. In fact, this is a job for other structure, I mean the police and the other. But they allow us, and then we perform thanks to their... they didn't know about these things. It was possible for them to forbid us. Okay. That's the problem with the illegal.
Okay.
Because we entered the flat. Maybe that question? Yeah? So I prepared a couple of backup slides. You know, I expected a question. Maybe I think this is very interesting because here you can see that we have a Jaffa cake, Greek cake, and domestic fruit cake, and that we isolated Salmonella enteritidis Jaffa cake and domestic fruit cake, but not in a Greece cake. This is just univariate analysis. This example is really quite good because we performed then a stratified analysis. So we stratified on people who ate Jaffa cake and not eat Jaffa cake. So you can see that in fact, more or less, the stratum-specific risk ratio, they are similar, but the adjusted and the crude relative risk are different. So in fact, we can see that Jaffa cake in the case of Greek cakes is confounding effect. In fact, that Greek cakes doesn't have any effect. So it's quite possible to see that if you're looking line list. The second things, okay, it's much better to see here that if you eat just Greek cake, in fact, there is no attack rate comparing with the two cases when you have Jaffa cake. Yeah? The second things we also stratified for the domestic cake for people who ate Jaffa cake and didn't eat. So you can see here that it was 1-0, and then we use that possibilities in this situation. Just in order to calculate, you can see that these stratum-specified risk ratio, that they are the difference. In fact, here we have the other modality, that's the effect of modification here. And in fact, you can see that if you eat Jaffa cake, that's the explanation of majority of the cases, but also if you eat just domestic cakes, it is possible to explain two cases that didn't eat Jaffa cake. So this example is quite interesting for us just because of this situation too.
Thank you very much.